Entrapment amidst freedom. Imagine that you have to be a certain age in order to run in a competitive marathon. It is an event that you have been looking forward to since you were a child. However, when the race starts, you realize that they have put your starting point 5 kilometers behind everyone else. How will you be able to win first place if you were set so far back to begin with? A similar story can be said about the Haitian people. After decolonization in Haiti, many individuals were left jobless and had little opportunity to make a better life for themselves and their family. Like the kid who started the race 5 kilometers behind their opponents, the Haitian people were left running a race they cannot win. One of the most significant reasons as to why there was this gap was due to the idea that social institution caused economic differences. Similarly to the Indian caste system, the class you were born into in Haiti determines the quality of life you would live in. The story in which this theory is going to be applied to is Edwidge Danticat's A Wall of Fire Rising. The story centers around a family living in a small shack in the Haitian countryside. Guy is the protagonist of the story and works several odd jobs to provide food for his wife and son. Lily, Guy's wife, is a stay-at-home mom that takes care of little Guy, their son. Guy is trying to acquire a job at a sugar mill so that hopefully his family will not have to worry about food every day. His inescapable position in the socio-economic ladder drives him to escape poverty by the means of suicide. The author's use of symbols and supporting characters reflect Guy's search for freedom in a world riddled with social unfairness. One of the most notable aspects of Danticat's story is the usage of symbolism. 3 of the many symbols utilized in this text include the list, fire, and a hot air balloon. The supporting characters that uses these symbols are Lily and Little Guy. Altogether, these aspects emphasize that poverty drives Guy to take his own life. The list that Guy mentions to his wife is a hiring list for the sugar mill. Even though it is simply a list of various names, it holds a significant meaning in the life of a Haitian family. One day, Guy tells his wife, "I'm still number 78 on the permanent hire list," he said. "I was thinking of putting the boy on the list now so that maybe by the time he becomes a man, he can be up for a job." The list provides Guy and the Haitians with hope for a better future and a step up the socio-economic ladder. In response to this, Lily replies saying that, "I don't want him on that list," she said. "For a young boy to be on any list like that might influence his destiny." In her eyes, she sees the list as something that will limit the person that little Guy could become. Lily believes that her son has a chance to overcome the socio-economic boundaries and become something other than the typical jobs available in her society. Lily's mindset contrasts with Guy's and works to emphasize Guy's feelings of entrapment. Fire is significant in A Wall of Fire Rising, seeing that it's in the title of the story. It represents the inner rage of the Haitian people after being trapped within their poverty for so long, but can also be represented as a source of freedom. In the first case, Little Guy recites lines from the play he is starring in as a tribute to his father's death. After Guy jumps out of the hot air balloon, he says, "A wall of fire is rising, and in the ashes I see the bones of my people. Not only those people whose dark hollow faces I see daily in the fields, but all those souls who have gone ahead to haunt my dreams." Little Guy recognizes the significance of his lines and the fire of economic inequality that led to his father's downfall. Little Guy's choice to restate these lines in the end of the story further highlight the reason as to why Guy must escape his life of poverty. In the second case, Guy sees fire as a source of energy, something that can fuel his means of escape. One night, he lit the paper until it burned to ashy film. The burning paper floated in the night breeze for a while, landing in fragments on the grass. Guy has figured out the mechanics of the hot air balloon, but despite his intelligence, he cannot get a job because of this trait, due to his position in society. The hot air balloon is one of the most obvious symbols used throughout the text. The hot air balloon best displays the divide between the rich and the poor. For example, the Assad family had a son who, it seems, was into manner of odd things, the most recent of which was a hot air balloon, which he had brought to Haiti from America and occasionally flew over the shantytown skies. The fact that this expensive machinery is flying over the shantytowns shows that there really are 2 worlds coinciding with one another. More importantly, the hot air balloon represents the passage to freedom. At the end of the story, the balloon kept floating free, drifting on its way to brighter shores. The hot air balloon flying to better lands can imply that Guy is escaping his life of poverty for a possibility of a better life. Even in today's society, there are many born into unfortunate situations. Despite the fact that countries like the United States of America provide many opportunities for the impoverished, there are still many obstacles that hold these individuals back from a better life. In Guy's case, the fire inside of him encouraged him to search for a better life. He finally realizes that there are limits placed upon him by society, and the only real way to escape is to fly away.